Hello friends, welcome to Manu Law Classes. मेरा नाम गौतम दीक्षित है and today in this video we are going to discuss the important news from the Hindu edition of 12th April 2023. Now some of the important news which we are going to do is about the forecast of monsoon. That is very important. Here we are going to study a geographical phenomena that again we will revise. हमने इसको कल भी किया था, आज हम एक बार फिर से इसको कर लेंगे कि ताकि हमारा रिवीजन बहुत अच्छे से हो जाए. एल नीनो एंड ला नीना. ओके, so what is El Nino and La Nina again we will do. And जो एवरेज रेनफॉल है जैसे हमने कल करा था 88 सेंटीमीटर माना जाता है. ठीक है, इंडिया का रेनफॉल विद वाइड वेरिएशन, वाइड स्पेशल वेरिएशन. सो ये सब हम करेंगे. देन द सेकेंड न्यूज विच इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट विच वी एम गोइंग टू टेल यू टुडे इज अबाउट नेशनल पार्टीज. कि नेशनल पार्टीज जो है हम किसे कहते हैं और इलेक्शन कमीशन ने क्या एलिजिबिलिटी रखा है फॉर एनी पार्टी to qualify as a national party. Along with that, I will give you the list of 6 national parties which are currently recognized by the Election Commission. So let's start with the news. The first news is data protection bill in monsoon session. तो जैसा कि हम जानते हैं that in a very significant and landmark judgment which is called as K.S. Puttaswamy judgment of 2017, privacy was recognized as the fundamental right. So in that judgment, that is K.S. Puttaswamy versus Union of India 2017, in that judgment, Supreme Court has highlighted the need to protect online personal data from prying eyes, those who are invading the privacy of the customers or consumers on their personal data. So to protect the personal data and to provide the definition of data of fiduciary, data principal and data processor, a bill is going to be introduced in Parliament, which will be called as Digital Personal Data Protection Bill 2022. This bill will enforce individual privacy in online space. Okay. Now the second information is, if the new bill is passed by the Parliament, it is going to replace the current information technology reasonable security practices and procedures and sensitive personal data or information rules, which was notified in 2011. Now the next is two other highlights of the bill. The first is the bill will replace the existing information technology rules that we have done. Then it aims to balance the right of individuals to protect the personal data and the need to process it for lawful purposes. The next is unfazed India to hold G20 event in Leh. So यहाँ पे अगर आप देखेंगे तो we are talking about the Youth 20 Summit or Y20. It will be held from April 26 to 28 in Leh in Ladakh, which will bring 80 delegates from every G20 countries. तो यहाँ पे अगर आप देखेंगे जो पाकिस्तान है, it has once again objected to the holding of meeting in what it calls it as the illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. So पाकिस्तान जो है वो इस मीटिंग में इन्वाइट ही नहीं है. जो चाइना है, it had earlier boycotted the G20 engagement meeting in Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, and then it is not going to participate as they consider it as a disputed territory. Now all eyes are set on 3 nations which are the members of Organization of Islamic Cooperation, which are Turkey, Indonesia and Saudi Arabia, whether they will be attending this summit or not. The next news is about the International Monetary Fund. सो इंटरनेशनल मॉनेटरी फंड ने एक बार फिर से इंडिया का जो ग्रोथ फोरकास्ट है उसको लोअर डाउन किया है. कुछ दिन पहले हमने वर्ल्ड बैंक के बारे में पढ़ा था, वर्ल्ड बैंक के बारे में. तो वर्ल्ड बैंक ने 6.6% से डाउनग्रेड करके 6.3% रखा था फॉर द जीडीपी फोरकास्ट ऑफ इंडिया फॉर दिस ईयर, दैट इज 2023-24. इसमें जो इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग था वो रीजंस दिए थे वर्ल्ड बैंक ने फॉर डाउनग्रेडिंग द जीडीपी प्रोजेक्शन वाज rising interest rate. Okay, one of the reason rising interest rate. Okay, which is and then weak consumption demand. Weak consumption demand. Other factors which was highlighted was from the external sector, that is rising crude oil prices and growing commodity prices in the international market. Now once again the International Monetary Fund जो है, it has projected that India's economy will grow by 5.9% for the current fiscal year, that is April 2023 March 2024. The downgrade is of 0.2 percentage point. Then for the next fiscal year, that is 2024-25, the IMF has estimated a growth forecast of 6.3%, which is now a downgrade of 0.5 percentage point from the last forecast. Now whenever we are doing this news, सो देयर आर ऑलवेज इंटरलिंकेजेस ऑफ द न्यूज़. कोई भी जो डाउनग्रेड होता है वो इस तरीके से नहीं होता है. देयर आर सेवरल फैक्टर्स विच कंट्रीब्यूट टू दिस डाउनग्रेड. सम ऑफ दिस फैक्टर्स विच आर हैपनिंग एट द ग्लोबल लेवल. फर्स्ट वी विल सी. सो ग्लोबल लेवल पे क्या फैक्टर्स हो सकते हैं. पहला फैक्टर तो यही है दैट सिलिकॉन वैली बैंक and several other banks including prominent banks in Europe, they have collapsed. Okay, that is called as contagion effect that is taking place. Failure of banks, जैसे क्रेडिट स्विस है, स्विट्जरलैंड का बैंक, उसके बाद सिलिकॉन वैली बैंक हमने देखा था. So these banks, they have failed. The second is that OPEC plus countries including Saudi Arabia, they have decided to cut the oil production, which will increase the prices of crude oil. Third is that many countries, in spite of the failure of banks, they are increasing the interest rate, increasing the benchmark interest rate. If you will see the Federal Reserve or the European Central Bank, they have all increased their benchmark interest rate to control inflation in their country. Okay, fine. So these are some of the factors. अब अगर हम इंडिया की बात करें, ठीक है, तो इंडिया में कोर इन्फ्लेशन इट इज स्टिल वेरी हाई. उसके बाद वीक कंजम्पशन डिमांड या वीक कंजम्पशन, these are some of the factors. Second, lower than normal monsoon, which will again increase the food inflation. Fine. So these are some of the factors which are responsible for tightening of monetary policy and slipping of the GDP forecast. Now coming to this editorial change in status, और यहाँ पे अगर हम देखेंगे there are certain parties which you should keep in mind. एक है आपका आम आदमी पार्टी, which has been recognized as the national party. Okay, आम आदमी पार्टी which has been recognized as national party. उसके बाद there were several national parties जिनको इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया ने नाउ नेशनल पार्टी का टैग हटा लिया है. नाउ दे आर स्टेट पार्टी. तो उसमें एक है कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी ऑफ इंडिया, दूसरा है तृणमूल कांग्रेस, तीसरा है नेशनल कांग्रेस पार्टी, नेशनलिस्ट कांग्रेस पार्टी, एनसीपी. ठीक है, अब ये नेशनल पार्टी से स्टेट पार्टी बन चुके हैं. ठीक, अगर आप देखें दैट हाउ मेनी नेशनल पार्टीज आर देयर इन इंडिया करेंटली, नेशनल पार्टीज इन इंडिया, तो नेशनल पार्टीज अगर आप देखेंगे, एक तो हो गया आपका आम आदमी पार्टी, ठीक है, दूसरा हो गया आपका बहुजन समाज पार्टी, फिर आपका हो गया भारतीय जनता पार्टी, फिर आपका कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी ऑफ इंडिया का मार्क्सिस्ट पार्टी. ओके, कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी ऑफ इंडिया इट स्प्लिट इन 1960s बिटवीन टू, कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी ऑफ इंडिया एंड कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी ऑफ इंडिया मार्क्सिस्ट. ठीक है, एंड देन मेघालय का एक पार्टी है नेशनल पीपल्स पार्टी, नेशनल पीपल्स पार्टी. Okay, so these are the 6 recognized national parties of India. Now, how we give the tag of national parties? तो इलेक्शन कमीशन ने क्या एलिजिबिलिटी रखा है किसी भी पार्टी को रिकॉग्नाइज करने के लिए एज ए नेशनल पार्टी. सो दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. तो अगर अब हम देखें, अगर इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया की अगर हम एलिजिबिलिटी देखें, ओके, सो द फर्स्ट एलिजिबिलिटी विच इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इज फर्स्ट that recognition, it should be recognized as a as a state party in 4 states. It should be a recognized party in 4 states. पहला तो ये है, ये पहला एलिजिबिलिटी है. ठीक है ना, तीनों में से कोई एक होना चाहिए, तो पहला तो एलिजिबिलिटी ये है. सेकेंड ये है that it should get 6% of valid votes. It should get 6% of valid votes from 4 states. Okay, and 4 members of parliament in Lok Sabha, means in legislative in Lok Sabha, 4 members of parliament in Lok Sabha. सेकेंड एलिजिबिलिटी है. थर्ड क्या है, 2% of total seats in Lok Sabha from three different states. इन तीनों में से कोई भी अगर एक क्वालिफिकेशन है, then that party will be recognized as national party. Okay. Now coming to Punjab, beware of the Ides of March. ठीक है, तो जो M.K. Narayanan है, he is a former director of Intelligence Bureau and former National Security Advisor and also former governor of West Bengal. Now he has wrote this article. So now he is saying that whatever is happening in Punjab, that there is a rise of a leader who has modeled himself on Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale, and then there has been a protest by the Sikh diasporas in different parts of countries like United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Australia. So all these are happening. Then there have been links of various groups, okay, such as pro-Khalistani groups like Sikh for Justice, Babbar Khalsa and Khalistan Liberation Force. So it is a very grave mistake to ignore what is happening. इसका मतलब ये है कि ये कह रहे हैं कि जब वारिस पंजाब डे डिक्लेयर हुआ था लास्ट ईयर, तभी सिक्योरिटी एजेंसीज को अलर्ट हो जाना चाहिए था और अमृतपाल सिंह पे तब से ही नज़र रखनी चाहिए थी दैट वॉट एवर इज हैपनिंग. सो यहाँ पे सेकेंड थिंग व्हाट ऑथर इज हाईलाइटिंग इज कि इन द नॉर्मल कोर्स जो भी इंटेलिजेंस था खालिस्तानी ग्रुप्स के बारे में, all this would have been shared with friendly intelligence agencies abroad, especially in the countries where the Sikh diaspora is present in their strength. Okay, the next is that यहाँ पे एक चीज जो और ध्यान में रखने की जरूरत है वो है alienation of Sikh youths. Alienation of Sikh youths कि अगर Sikhs are alienated, क्योंकि अगर आप पंजाब देखेंगे so it has benefited much from the green revolution. ठीक है, but now because of the negative externalities which has been developed in the agricultural economy of Punjab due to climate change और natural resources, तो यहाँ पे जो agriculture जो है वो decline में है. ठीक है, so agriculture is in decline. तो यहाँ पे जब भी agriculture या income decline में होता है तो there is always a sense of alienation. उसके बाद farmers protest. Okay, which has all led to alienation of the Sikh youth. तो इसको हमें एड्रेस करने की बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरत है. Then second is that we should always look for cooperation from different countries where Sikh diaspora is present. Now the next news is the 17th Lok Sabha is likely to be shortest since 1952. तो ये सारे पार्लियामेंट्री स्टैटिस्टिक्स हैं. इट हैज़ बीन टेकन फ्रॉम द PRS लेजिस्लेटिव रिसर्च वाइटल स्टैटिस्टिक्स पार्लियामेंट फंक्शनिंग इन बजट सेशन 2023. okay, so they have collected the data. So if you will see the number of sittings for 17th Lok Sabha, it is pegged at 230. okay, तो यहाँ पे ये कहा जा रहा है कि जितने भी लोकसभा जिन्होंने 5 years कंप्लीट किए, बहुत सारे लोकसभा के सेशंस ऐसे भी रहे हैं जो 5 साल से पहले ही डिसॉल्व हो गए, तो उनको हम एक्सक्लूड कर दें और हम उन सारे लोकसभा के सेशंस को लें जिन्होंने 5 years पूरा कंप्लीट किया, तो उसमें से जो 17th लोकसभा होगा जिसकी सीटिंग अभी तक सिर्फ 230 है और वो 331 क्रॉस नहीं कर सकती, which was till now the lowest sitting. Okay, so it is going to be the shortest full term Lok Sabha since 1952. okay, now see the term of 4th, 6th, 9th, 11th and 12th Lok Sabha was shorter than 5 years and so the number of sittings were fewer. तो हम इसको exclude कर रहे हैं as you can see in the graph. okay, so the term of 5th Lok Sabha was extended for 6 years. ये भी यहाँ पे एक information है. Now let's see about the disruptions. So if you will see that in the budget session which recently concluded, Lok Sabha functioned for 33% of its scheduled time and Rajya Sabha functioned only for 24%. okay, then if you will see that in Lok Sabha so far 150 bills have been introduced and 131 bills have been passed excluding the finance and appropriation bills. First session में अगर हम देखेंगे तो 38 bills were introduced and 28 were passed. The next is a very important data that the latest session also saw the least amount of time spent on the questions in the current Lok Sabha. So question are functioned only for 19% of the scheduled time in the Lok Sabha and 9% of the scheduled time in the Rajya Sabha. Then 7% of start questions were answered in each house. Then that is very important. No private member bills. Private member bills means what? The bills which are introduced by member of parliaments who are not ministers. they were introduced or discussed in this session. तो यहाँ पे private member bill इस session में discuss हुआ ही नहीं. Then each house discussed only one private member resolution. The next is about our adjournment motion. So see यहाँ पे बहुत important fact है. Adjournment motions, they are used to adjourn the normal proceedings of the house to discuss an urgent matter. So the motion is voted at the end of discussion. Short duration discussions are used to debate matters of public importance. Then there are half an hour discussions. They are used to obtain further information from the government about a question answered in the house. So these are the different devices used in Lok Sabha for the accountability of Council of Ministers. The next is Saudi Arabia's quest for strategic autonomy. So we are doing this article now. We have got a single article which explains everything that why Saudi Arabia is making a transition. So यहाँ पे important है ये समझना कि that what has happened actually. So if you will see, two important things have happened related to Saudi Arabia which we have done. First is restoration of diplomatic ties between Saudi Arabia and Iran, which were arch rivals. Okay, it's China mediated. Okay, so this talk was China mediated. Second is that now visit of Saudi Arabian and Oman delegation to Yemen to end the Houthi rebels crisis. ठीक है, to end the Houthi rebels crisis. दूसरा, तीसरा, अब रशिया मेडिएट कर रहा है सऊदी अरेबिया और सीरिया के बीच में कि ताकि सीरिया जो है वो अरब लीग का मेंबर बन जाए. ये तीन चीजें इंपॉर्टेंट हैं. उसके साथ साथ सऊदी अरेबिया जो ट्राई कर रहा है वो ट्राई कर रहा है टू मेंटेन इट्स ऑटोनॉमी एंड टू बैलेंस इट्स रिलेशनशिप विद यूएसए ऑन वन साइड एंड रशिया ऑन द अदर साइड, बिकॉज यूएसए इज स्टिल अ मेजर डिफेंस सप्लायर टू सऊदी अरेबिया. फाइन. तो यहाँ पे अगर हम देखें कि what has changed in this region is basically deprioritization of West Asia. Deprioritization of West Asia by USA. USA जो है इसका मिलिट्री प्रेजेंस इस एरिया में बहुत ज़्यादा है, बट क्योंकि डीप्रायोरिटाइजेशन की वजह से एक वैक्यूम जो है वो क्रिएट हो चुका है. ठीक है, तो ये वैक्यूम क्रिएट होने की वजह से जो है यहाँ पे जो सऊदी अरेबिया है नाउ इट हैज़ बिकम मोर ऑटोनोमस इन डीलिंग विद इट्स अदर कंट्रीज. ओके, सो यहाँ पे अगर आप देखें कि सऊदी अरेबिया को जब बोला गया कि टू ज्वाइन द वेस्टर्न लेड सैंक्शंस अगेंस्ट रशिया, सो सऊदी अरेबिया रेफ्यूज टू ज्वाइन द सैंक्शन. Then it also supported OPEC plus decision to cut the crude oil production to maintain the prices in the international market. But at the same time, US के साथ it has ordered $35 billion Boeing deal and it is engaged in conditional talks to normalize ties with Israel, especially after the West Bank issue. Then in mediation with China, because it is a significant trading partner also, so Iran reconciliation deal has been finalized. And both the sides are looking for enhancing trade and defense cooperation. Now, what are the implications for the region in West Asia because of all this strategic shift? So, if you will see that Saudi Arabia's normalization talks with Syria or its talks with Houthis cannot be seen separately from the bigger picture of Saudi-Iran rapprochement. So, see, if Syria joins the Arab League, so it would be an official declaration of victory by Mr. Assad in the civil war. तो यहाँ पे अगर आप देखेंगे कि यहाँ पे जो सिविल वॉर चल रहा था, सो मिस्टर असाद वाज सपोर्टेड बाय ईरान, यूएस एंड सऊदी अरेबिया दे वर सपोर्टिंग द ग्रुप्स हु वर प्रोटेस्टिंग अगेंस्ट द असाद. देन इफ सऊदीज दे एंड द येमेन वॉर थ्रू अ सेटलमेंट विद द हौथीज, सो रियाद वुड गेट अ काल्मर बॉर्डर. इन पास्ट ये हुआ है कि जो हौथी रेबल्स हैं दे हैव टारगेटेड सऊदी अरेबियन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर एंड इंस्टॉलेशंस एक्सेट्रा. फाइन. देन इफ यू विल सी देयर आर सर्टेन चैलेंजेस आल्सो. सो इफ यू विल सी that Israeli raid at Jerusalem's Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is Islam's third holiest place of worship last week, which has triggered the rocket attacks from Lebanon and Gaza, and Israel have bombed the territories including Syria. Then we have to see the impact of escalation of tensions between Israel and Iran on the cross Gulf stability. Okay, जैसे कि आप जानते हैं कि जो गाजा में जो हमास ग्रुप है, they are again supported by Iran. Then second thing is that Saudi Arabia trying to retain its autonomy without irking a US beyond a point. The next news is we are seeing militarization of space, steady progress towards weaponization, says our Chief of Defense Staff General Anil Chauhan. So यहाँ पे जो मिलिट्रलाइजेशन ऑफ स्पेस है उससे रिलेटेड जो बात हो रही है, तो यहाँ पे जनरल अनिल चौहान is saying that there should be there should be now an aim to develop dual use platform with special focus towards incorporating cutting edge technology first thing, and we must expand our NAVIC constellation to provide space based intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance. Okay, and then we should ensure that the secure satellite assisted communications for defense forces. So he was speaking at a very important conference, that is Indian Defense Symposium, which was organized by Indian Space Association in association with DRDO. अब यहाँ पर अगर आप देखेंगे तो मिशन डिफेंस स्पेस की बात हो रही है। तो मिशन डिफेंस स्पेस क्या है, इसके अंदर 75 चैलेंजेस हैं which have been identified. These 75 challenges are related with the Indian Army, Navy, Air Force and developing technologies and innovative solutions for space related domains of these armed forces with the participation of startups and industry. Okay, यहाँ पे अगर आप देखें तो एक और बॉडी का नाम है, that is ISPA, Indian Space Association. It is an industry body. It is an industry association of space and satellite companies. It is the director general of this ISPA is Lieutenant General A.K. Bhatt. Then DRDO के जो chief हैं, DRDO के director Samir V. Kamath. So he has said they have started increasing their focus on a very critical space domain with focus on space-based surveillance, space situational awareness, protecting our space-based assets. The next is IMD predicts normal monsoon as El-Nino effect looms large this year. तो लास्ट हमने जो पढ़ा था प्रोडिक्शन के बारे में कल, वो हमने स्काईमेट के बारे में पढ़ा था। स्काईमेट जो है वो एक प्राइवेट फोरकास्ट एजेंसी है जिसने कहा था कि 94% जो होगा, जो मानसून होगा, इट विल बी बिलो नॉर्मल, इट विल बी 94% ऑफ लॉन्ग टर्म एवरेज। ओके, तो लॉन्ग टर्म एवरेज, तो यहाँ पर अगर आप देखें जो इंडियन नॉर्मल मानसून जो होता है ड्यूरिंग जून सितंबर, इट इज़ 87 सेंटीमीटर विच इज़ कंसिडर्ड एज 100% ऑफ एलपीए। एलपीए लॉन्ग टर्म एवरेज का मतलब लास्ट 50 ईयर्स का। नाउ इफ यू विल सी, जो आईएमडी जो कह रहा है वो 94% नहीं कह रहा है, वो 96% कह रहा है। ठीक है, सो 96% फोरकास्ट को हम नॉर्मल मानते हैं, मतलब कि इफ वी आर गेटिंग 96% to 104% of long term average, so we will consider it as a normal rainfall. ठीक है, so IMD is predicting 96% of long term average which will qualify as the normal rainfall. Now again it is talking about the El-Nino. So if you will see that El-Nino, it is a cyclical phenomena of warming in the Central Pacific, and it is a key factor which affect Indian monsoon because it is linked with diminished rainfall in certain parts of India. उसके बाद स्काईमेट ने जो कल प्रेडिक्ट किया था वो 95% ऑफ एलपीए था, और उसने कहा था कि पंजाब, हरियाणा, राजस्थान और उत्तर प्रदेश में जो होगा दैट विल बी रिड्यूस्ड रेनफॉल. देन दे से दैट देयर आर सर्टेन फैक्टर्स व्हिच कैन न्यूट्रलाइज द इम्पैक्ट ऑफ एल नीनो. दीज आर इंडियन ओशन डाइपोल. अगर इंडियन ओशन डाइपोल में दो चीजें होती हैं, पॉजिटिव या नेगेटिव. अगर पॉजिटिव इंडियन ओशन डाइपोल हुआ तो इट विल फेवर इंडियन मानसून. दैट इज द फर्स्ट थिंग. सेकेंड इज reduced snow cover in Eurasia could potentially offset the impact of El Nino on the monsoon. Then central India and southern India, which are the key agricultural areas, they are expected to receive normal or slightly above normal rainfall based on current models. उसके बाद अगर हम देखें El Nino years, then from 1951 to 2022 there have been 15 El Nino years, which is defined as a rise of 0.5 degrees Celsius temperature in central equatorial Pacific Ocean, and in that 9 of those years have witnessed below normal rainfall. Then in 2015, the last strong El Nino year, the monsoon rainfall fell by 14%. Now coming from economics, government unveils quality control orders for technical textiles. So the Ministry of Textiles has unveiled 2 quality control orders for 31 technical textile items, which includes 19 geotextiles and 12 protective textile products. उसके बाद in second phase, the ministry plans to issue 2 more quality control orders for 28 items. Now it will cover 22 agro textile products and 6 medical textile items. Now the next, Finance Minister urges G20 to unite on debt distress of middle income countries. So G20 का हमने कल पढ़ा था कि फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर्स एंड सेंट्रल बैंक गवर्नर्स की मीटिंग होने वाली है अप्रैल 12 से 13. So here finance minister Nirmala Sitharaman has expressed that the group would come together to address the debt distress of middle income countries. अगर हम इंडिया का अगर देखें नेबरहुड, 3 countries they are in debt distress and they have sought help from IMF. These countries are Sri Lanka, Pakistan and Bangladesh. So friends, that's all for today. We will meet tomorrow again with a daily Hindu analysis. Till then, have a nice time. Take care. Thank you.